Now on CoastTV News.
Shutdown signs, recreational services to health care, the local impacts of the ongoing government shutdown.
Selbyville development, the 200 homes one company wants to build right here, and the farm that is opposing it.
New numbers released from the Pallet Village in Georgetown. How many people the village says it's helped and how many are back on the streets.
Well, we're going to have a bit of a frosty feel to the forecast, and believe it or not, it's actually right on schedule according to how we should be grooving at this time of the year.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
Locked doors on Delmarva. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with the government shutdown and the local effects here on the coast.
Both the Sussex County VA Clinic and the Social Security Office are open with appointments continuing, but it is a different story over at the Prime Hook National Wildlife Refuge. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is live there in Prime Hook. Emma, all events have been paused due to the shutdown.
Maddie, here at the Prime Hook Refuge, the visitor center is closed. Guided bird walks, a photography contest, and all events over the past few weeks have been canceled and will continue to be paused throughout the shutdown. While you can still enjoy the pretty walking trails and the nature, friends of Prime Hook say staff are furloughed without pay and there's no one to answer the phone. The Social Security Administration in Georgetown. 3 weeks into the government shutdown, the building is still open, but people like Kimberly Baptiste say they're now short-handed in the office.
If I didn't have an appointment already months and months and months ago, I really would have been in a lot of trouble.
The Sussex County VA Clinic remains open, and one veteran we spoke with says his health care has continued as normal. But for the Prime Hook National Wildlife Refuge, the visitor center is closed and all events are canceled due to the shutdown. We reached out to the refuge, but no one is available to answer the phone.
Due to a lack of appropriations funding, I'm currently on furlough and will return once appropriations funding is approved by the Congress and the government returns to normal operations.
Shane Boland says he's looking forward to Prime Hook returning to normal.
I found that pretty unfortunate that they can't do some of these activities because the weather's just been so great, and it makes it difficult to find a good time of year to do it, and this is a perfect time, unfortunately.
The situation is similar over in Assateague Island National Seashore. The park remains open, but some services are limited. While the visitor center here is closed and those events are canceled, the bathrooms are still open for those visiting the refuge to use. Reporting live here in Prime Hook, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
Over at the Indian River Inlet, the Army Corps says work there will continue as normal and will not be impacted by the government shutdown. According to the Army Corps, work at the inlet has periodically been on pause for sea conditions and mechanical issues, but the Army Corps says that's routine.
So how long can a government shutdown last? Well, the longest one on record happened in late 2018 in President Trump's first term, lasting 35 days. It started over a dispute on border wall funding. If this current shutdown goes past November 4th, it would break that record, while rare multi-week shutdowns have become more common in recent years. The land between New Road and Lighthouse Road might soon have more than 200 new homes built on it. According to the applicant, more housing and the types of housing that would be built would be beneficial to the area. But one neighbor doesn't want to see that happen. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zapay is live in Selbyville. Kevin, the farmer next to the land says this development would be terrible for her business.
Charlie, right beside me is the land in question. Now, as of right now, this land is only used for agricultural use, but the applicant submitted a request to the Sussex County Council for it to possibly be residential development. But that farm next door says it might hurt their recreational hunting, something they've been doing for decades. On Tuesday, the Sussex County Council held a public hearing for the request to rezone the land next to McGee Farms and build the Marlin Cove development. According to the proposal, the plans call for a 210 units, 106 homes, and 104 duplexes across the over 60-acre land. But farmer Ellen McGee says this would cause problems for the land they use for hunting.
Family members before me have had the right to hunt, to shoot guns for 160 years. I want that protected.
The Sussex County Council did not approve the request yet at the public hearing, and they deferred it so that they can make a decision at a later date. I'm Kevin Zappé, live in Selbyville, CoastTV News.
The Pallet Village in Georgetown, operated by the Springboard Collaborative, has released new numbers as public criticism of homelessness grows in Georgetown. The village says out of 201 total people that have lived there, 59 have moved into permanent housing, 46 left the program without securing housing, 24 went back into the woods in Georgetown specifically, and 22 were transported to other locations outside of town. The village has removed some individuals for violating rules, including drug use and panhandling.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what does this information, what does this new data about the Pallet Village say to you?
Let's take a look at the results so far. 46% say it's not sustainable, 19% say better than nothing, 33% say it shows the program is working, and 2% say it needs fixing.
If you'd like to vote in this, or if you want to leave a comment, go ahead and do that at coasttv.com or use our Coast TV mobile app. Now let's take a live look outside into Milford. Big bright sun up in the sky. Words are tough, but they're never tough for our chief meteorologist, Mr. Paul Williams.
Well, you know what, Charlie? I'm not calling for frost per se, but I am calling for a frost feeling, okay? That's what we're talking about. In Milford, we're currently at 63 degrees, far from a frosty feel, but it's tomorrow morning when that comes into play. We're going to drop as early as 9 o'clock back into the mid-50s, and we're going to plummet quickly, particularly as the skies begin to clear out a little bit for us. We're not overly concerned with a bunch of wind, with the exception over towards Cambridge, where we still have an active small craft advisory, so we're still talking about 25-mile-per-hour winds, blustery a bit for us in Cambridge, Castlehaven, Tillman, as well as the James community on the other side of the peninsula, comparably to the beaches. Cloud cover mainly hovering to our northwest and out of our immediate vicinity, but take a look at this. Here's our hint. We're going to drop down to 46 degrees by 3 o'clock, and that doesn't seem like a big deal, but look at these winds going from 4 or 5 to calm. Calm winds, clear skies. That could be a setup for a little bit of frost. And that would actually be right on time for this time of year, because guess what, guys? Tomorrow is actually the day we usually have our first frost.
Paul, thank you. A recent report from Maryland's comptroller shows that an average of 40,000 people are moving out of Maryland each year. The people are reportedly looking for cheaper or less regulated housing markets. The Salisbury Chamber of Commerce says that spells trouble for Maryland's economy and labor market.
A new Wawa is set to be built on Route 24 and Mulberry Knoll Road in Lewis. Important note, this is not the same as the Costco development. The project will include a gas station and convenience amenities. According to DSM Commercial and Salatico Development, the preparations are underway. Construction expected to be completed by early spring or summer of 2026. Since his first day in office, President Trump promised to end the wars in Ukraine and Gaza, but he's facing headwinds in Ukraine, putting a second summit on hold. Today, he's meeting the NATO Secretary General to try and find a way to stop the fighting.
The administration also sending the Vice President and Secretary of State to Israel to shore up the delicate ceasefire and preserve the president's peace plan. NBC's Ryan Nobles shows us how the administration is trying to keep the peace plans alive.
President Trump facing obstacles on the path to peace in Ukraine. Today sitting down with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte to discuss a way to end the bloodshed. As Russia carries out major training exercises involving nuclear weapons, Russian President Vladimir Putin overseeing everything from Moscow. Before his meeting with Trump, Rutte met with senators on Capitol Hill.
Well, I have total confidence in President Trump. And he is the only one who can get this done.
And now a second summit between Trump and Putin on hold.
I don't want to have a waste of time.
Plans for the meeting were underway, but an administration official tells NBC News that a phone call between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov went sideways after Russia demanded guarantees before a ceasefire. Rubio now heading to Israel to connect with Vice President Vance, already in Israel and working to maintain a fragile ceasefire in Gaza.
We have a very, very tough task ahead of us.
He met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Had a lot of good conversations with our friends in the Israeli government, but also, frankly, with our friends in the Arab world who are stepping up and volunteering to play a very positive role.
There have been flashes of violence recently between Israel and Hamas that threaten the ceasefire. and the two sides at odds over the return of hostage bodies and getting aid into the region. But for now, the peace plan is holding. In the president's 20-point peace plan, he envisioned an international security force to help keep peace in the region. But Vice President Vance said that force is still in its early stages of planning. Ryan Nobles, NBC News, Washington.
A new online tool shows real-time air quality in your area, how it could protect your health.
And a bit of a frosty feel in the forecast. We'll talk more about that coming up.
But first, a fresh start for Snow Hill, how a major street makeover is paving the way for growth. Up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
One community in Worcester County is celebrating the end of a year-long project. Snow Hill held a ribbon-cutting ceremony to mark the completion of the Purnell Street revitalization. The project, which began last year, includes new water and sewer services, water and sewer mains, storm drains, fire hydrants repaving, as well as some curb and gutter repair.
The Director of Rural Economic Strategy says projects like this are essential to help communities grow.
This is paramount to everything, is to have a high quality of life. And this is the best way to do it, is through infrastructure. You know, it's your foundation. You know, if you have a clean, safe street, you have a clean, safe neighborhood. You know, so it all plays one thing right into the next, to job creation, to wealth building, to generational blessings, and off we go.
The project was primarily funded by the Maryland Department of the Environment and through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Coming up next, Paul Williams in the Coast TV First Alert Weather Center with your full forecast.
To be quite honest, it is indeed a beautiful looking day in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers would say. And we're going to stay gorgeous with the weather, but I only have one of those, I got a smidgen, only a smidgen, a stone in my forecast shoe that I got to tell you about. Other than that, everything's looking pretty cool. In Laurel, 67 degrees, totally clear skyline, gorgeous weather. We're going to clear out as we go into the overnight. Pay attention to the pattern of the clearing. That's where the caveat comes into play. We are currently, live radar, very clear, cloud cover staying limited, precipitation not even an issue. Now we do have small craft advisory that's still active throughout the Chesapeake Bay area, watching out for about 25-mile-per-hour winds. So if you're going along the bridge, it's going to be a little breezy there. But the precipitation that's up into portions of Pennsylvania, that will stay up there where it belongs and away from us, okay? No negotiations, no rain. We're not going to tolerate it, right? Right. 66 degrees. Long Neck, 66 in Millsboro, Dagsboro, Gumboro, as well as Delmar and in Salisbury. Overnight, I've been trying to hold this off for as long as I can, but now we're going to have a personal discussion. Your meteorologist to you personally. Prepare yourself for the 30s. Here we go. 38 for everybody, except along the beaches where we dropped to 42 degrees. I know that was traumatic for you, so we're going to move on quickly. By the way, the clear skies, same clear skies that's going to allow for it to clear out for tonight and become cool. It's also great for meteor shower watching tonight and going into the 23rd, up to like 20 meteors per hour, okay? And it's going to be mostly clear, so perfect. And this is going to, typically for this time of the year, the frost is usually the norm. Now, the first frost is usually October the 23rd. I don't think we're going to pick on some frost, widespread frost, but we're going to feel frosty at the very least. By the way, in case you wanted to know, the first freeze typically November the 10th. Chilly early, 65 for the high in Seaford. Will warm to 65 for the high Cambridge. Lots of sunshine. Winds out of the west, 10 to 17. 65 for the high Berlin, Ocean City, Snow Hill, Chincoteague, and in Pocomoke City. Thursday is going to be a 60s kind of day for everybody with winds primarily out of the west. 62 to 64 to 66 for our locations along the coast with winds out of the west between 11 to 16 miles per hour, which is backed off a bit when you consider what we've been through. So for Thursday in the morning time in the 40s, we'll go into the 60s for the afternoon. Friday, we start off in the 30s, inland, 40s along the beaches, but we'll warm up nicely. You see, we're going to go from 66 to 62 to 60 in Chincoteague over the next 3 days. Now, as we go up a little bit more, now, in Ocean City, we're going to go from 64 for the high to only 59 for the high on Friday and Saturday, okay? I'm making a note for that. I'm stressing that so the folks in Ocean City aren't caught by surprise. And we're going to go to only 59 degrees on Saturday in Rehoboth Beach. That's when we're going to have the Sea Witch Festival. So if you're going to be out to the festival or the parade, Join us there on Saturday. Please wear your long sleeves because it's going to be in the morning time and it's going to be chilly, big time chilly then.
Paul, thank you. A man convicted of theft has been found after failing to return to a corrections facility in Georgetown. He was out on an approved work pass. They say Ole Lincoln Plummer of Harrington was reported as having walked away on October 17th, but he was arrested by correctional officers in Rehoboth and returned to custody October 21st. Lincoln Plummer was serving time for a violation of probation on a theft charge.
Tonight on DSN at 5 p.m., Gunston School at St. Peter's and Paul in field hockey at 10:30 p.m. The final score, and on DSN Plus you can catch that main game at 5 along with St. Peter and Paul at Salisbury Christian at 5 in girls volleyball.
We salute Sergeant Banner Shepard. During World War II, Sergeant Shepard served bravely as a tank operator in the Pacific Theater. Despite having 2 tanks destroyed beneath him in combat, he survived without serious injury and evaded capture by the enemy. After the war, he returned home, built a family, and raised 3 children, living a life that honored the freedom he fought to protect.
Spicer Brothers and CoastTV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a CoastTV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
Information regarding air quality for your area is now available online through a tool provided by DENREC. Now, DENREC added this as an updated hourly and displayed a map using geographic information. It's a system which helps users understand what various air quality levels mean.
Some bad news here. A key group of American borrowers is falling significantly behind on their car loans. According to the Fitch ratings, the percentage of subprime borrowers who are at least 60 days late on their car loans has doubled since 2021 to 6.43%. That is worse than during the past 3 recessions, and cars are being repossessed at the highest rate since the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009.
Oregon is asking a federal judge to get California's National Guard out of Portland. The motion comes just 3 days after a judge stopped President Donald Trump from deploying Oregon's National Guard. About 100 National Guard troops have already arrived in Oregon. Trump says their purpose is to protect ICE agents and federal property amid what he calls violent protests.
A shortage of air traffic controllers Tuesday night impacted thousands of flights across the country. Delays were reported at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, Newark Liberty International, and Houston's George Bush International and Hobie airports. Los Angeles and Jacksonville, Florida, also understaffed last week. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said some workers are taking unscheduled time off work to protest not being paid during the government shutdown.
As we take a live look outside into Rehoboth Beach, a beautiful evening, and one more check on your forecast after the break. It's not too early to plan a dream vacation. National Geographic released its must-visit locations for next year. Now, top cities include Rio de Janeiro, also Beijing. Those are historic sites as well as hiking trails to iconic spots. Now, in the U.S., interesting Pittsburgh was highlighted thanks to its arts scene and museums.
Coming up new on Coast TV News at 6, a new Dunkin' in Milton, what the latest is on the new project.
Take a look at it.
You were excited for Dunkin'.
I'm sorry, but everybody loses their mind when it comes to donuts, including me. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back here. All right, Milford, we're looking at sunshine. Clear for right now, 54 degrees, looking very clear. We're not concerned about any additional rain, except on the west side of the peninsula. Yeah, we still have gusty winds, if that being the case. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Gary of Berlin. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away. Sponsored by the law offices of Brugstedt, Mendalis, and Federico. And here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. I'm sorry.
I know.
Here we go.
The threes
The threes are there and on schedule, 38, 39, 40.
You tried to avoid it.
I did.
You know, you gotta have the cold to appreciate when it's nice.
Nice. You know, Charlie, you've always been a positive individual.
Sunny disposition.
That's it. Plus, I did slip him at 5.
Okay, thank you, Paul, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.